No, Ben Simmons is talking crazy again. Welcome back to Nets Republic. I'm your host, Sever the Bond, live from the new setup here at Nets Republic headquarters. Good to see y'all. Hope your summer's been going well. We're back into the swing of things. My move has been completed officially, so now I can get back to weekly content and all that shenanigans to entertain you through the off season. And wouldn't you know it, we're talking about Ben Simmons again. It's almost as if we're on a Ben for clicks campaign. It seems like it used to be Kyrie for clicks, now it's Ben for clicks, but that's not here to there. Mark, whoever did an interview with Ben Simmons, and again, I don't even know if this is legitimate because it's like 90% of the stuff that breaks, like a lot of the like talking head shows are like on hiatus or they're like talking about football. So it's like, it's really difficult to get a gauge of what's actual news and what's just people trolling. But I've seen this on multiple reports, so I'm going to go ahead and run with it and make a video over it. Ben Simmons is saying that he is proclaiming that he is the starting point guard for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, we've already done a video saying that he wants to be the starting point guard, but now he's proclaiming that, no, that's what he does, that's who he is. He even went as far as to say that there are certain individuals who will go out there and try to put him in this Draymond Green-esque role of being a forward or possibly a backup center, but he said that is not him. He is a point guard, and he is back to the quote-unquote old Ben Simmons. He's back on that shenanigans he was, where he was a top-tier defender and all the offensive mastery and the ability to finish with the soft touch and the occasional hook shot and all that shenanigans. He claims he's at that point again. He has even gone as far to say that if he were to go 1v1 with a previous version of himself, previous version as in this last season, he would absolutely dominate. So Mr. Ben Simmons says. And number one, I would just like to take a moment to address the fact that while all of you have been pushing me down the stairs for a full calendar year now, almost 2.5, yeah, 1.5, if we're keeping it all the way 1,000. While y'all have been pushing me down a proverbial flight of stairs for the last 1.5 years, trying to convince me that Ben Simmons is not a point guard, Ben Simmons is a power forward, now you heard it from the proverbial horse's mouth, and I ask upon thee once more. Do I get my apology? Because I've been trying to tell y'all, not only through literal proof. I mean, like, we're looking at the pudding right now. And some of y'all are sitting there saying, no, that's Jell-O. I'm like, Duke, that's pudding. The proof is in the pudding. Look at what he was doing in Philly. He's a point guard. He's Magic Johnson. Like, that's what he is. That's his archetype. That's what Ben Simmons is. And the fact that we were even arguing about that is so silly. It makes my head hurt. Like, with the amount of things we've legitimately had arguments about, like, does Kyrie equate to winning? Like, all the serious things that we were having back and forth over. Is Mikal Bridges truly the magical disappearing man, or is he a future MVP? All the conversations that we've had, should we build around Cam Thomas and Claxton? The thing I seem to get the most pushback from is the idea that Ben Simmons is a point guard, and I just don't even see how that was a point of contention. Well, now you heard it from Ben Simmons himself. He's a point guard. So all that point forward shenanigans, we can throw it down the drain. We can flush it down the toilet. And we can be done with the shenanigans. We can be done with the experimentation. We can be done with the beakers and the test tubes and all that foolishness. This man is a point guard. Now, I don't know what has y'all so afraid of the concept of Ben Simmons at point, Mikal at the 2, Cam Johnson at the 3, Finney Smith or Royce O'Neal, whoever you want to put it, might end up being Lonnie Walker, who knows, at the 4, and Claxton at the 5. I don't know what has got y'all so up in arms to where you look at that lineup and say, I didn't get red. That is a defensive apocalyptic lineup. It's over for the East. When we roll that out there, and again, Ben Simmons just has to be a fraction of what he is. This man is saying he's all the way backsies. This man is saying he is all the way backsies. And we have nothing but room for optimism. Now, obviously, there's a camp, a very experienced camp, and a very realistic camp, who are going to sit there and say, well, Sever, how do you know this is going to work? We've heard it all before. You know, cue the summertime Ben Simmons videos of him taking a shot every now and again. Like it's giving the Hoodie Melo days, to where Carmelo was clearly past his prime, but we were still letting him have 40 shots a game type stuff. But he put that hoodie on in the summertime and he looked skinny, and we say, oh, this is a different Carmelo Anthony. No. And shout out to Melo, but we've seen it all before. We've seen it all before. We've heard it all before with Mr. Ben Simmons. And that is a very valid point that some of you are exclaiming at your devices or televisions or whatever it is that you're watching me on. Sever, how do we know this is not just another fluff piece? How do we know that this is not more of the same, and that we're not going for the same head fake that Sixers fans for years were duped into thinking? Well, it's from a simple standpoint of, it's not so much that he's improved, it's that he's gone back to his norm. And I'm telling y'all, Ben Simmons at his norm is all that we need. We don't need him to start taking three-point shots. We don't need him to shoot, period. What Ben Simmons does at his prime and what he's normally built to do is all that we need. I will take that over Spencer Dinwiddie any day of the week. Shout out Dennis Smith Jr., but I am more than happy with all of this. I went back and I was watching some defensive highlights and clips and compilations on YouTube of just some of Ben Simmons' best moments defensively. Now, I'm not just referring to, you know, many moons ago when he was that guy in Philly. I'm talking about last season. And while I will say at some times he was utterly useless out there, during that crazy run of, like, what was it, 17 games or some shenanigans that we had one in a row, Ben Simmons was a part of that for the most part. And the amount of, like, clutch screens to get KD open, the amount of, like, disgusting full court passes over to Kyrie or looking for Watanabe or some shenanigans like that, making sure Joe Harris is getting his shots in, making sure Seth Curry is involved the few times his emotional support Patty Mills was out there, making sure he was getting involved, playing the rough and dirty defense, making sure that when you're contesting someone in the post, you put two arms up and then just put your body into them. That's the best way to get physical and not foul. I'm talking about the behind-the-scenes shenanigans. I'm talking about times where we are playing the Pelicans. And this man, Ben Simmons, has one of their guards on the floor with his knee in their rib cage, making sure it's a 4-4 fast break on the other side. I mean, the dirty work that Ben Simmons was putting in. And I'll be the first to admit I wasn't even paying attention to it. But you're telling me we're going to get all of those intangibles, all those things you can't teach, and he's gonna be healthy? I will be the first one to admit, okay? I'll be the first one to admit this. Remember how I told you that if we got Westbrook or Carmelo, this was going to be a very, very nasty place to be on the internet because of the agendas I was gonna get off? Well, I have to add a name onto that. I've secretly been a Ben Simmons stan for like 3 years. And it's been on the hushity-hush, it's been on the quiety-quiet for the longest of times, but I've secretly been a insane Ben Simmons supporter. Now, I know I was letting him have it during the season, but that's because he played like a bum. And you need to be called as such, doesn't matter how much I like you. When he was getting injuries in his knee and his back from getting slapped in the face, I had enough. I couldn't take it any longer. I was genuinely curious as to what Buddy was doing for the team. Again, I quote Office Space, like, what would you say you do here? Like, I was perplexed. I was wondering what was going on, what was with the shenanigans. I was trying to put the pieces together. But I've always liked Ben Simmons' game. I like the defense. I like the ability to drive and get your own shot type stuff. I love the fact that he's always going to dictate the pace and make sure everyone else gets involved. And again, can I say it again? It's playing bully ball defense is such a slept on art that I can just watch YouTube compilations on for the rest of my life. It is absolutely beautiful, and it's the type of stuff that this team needs. Because when you look at scoring-wise, right, Claxton's got to make sure he's available to clean up whatever gets missed, right? Cam Johnson has got to be ready to do his little ISO stuff and then hit a shot in the corner type stuff. Mikal Bridges is on a MVP campaign. We all know what he's finna do. Whoever that 4 is, be it Royce O'Neal or Finney Smith or Lonnie or whoever, and I know you are saying several, Lonnie Walker's on a 4, positionless basketball, but they need to be able to hit a shot when need be for them as well. But I think Ben Simmons, being an attacking guard that's going to go downhill, and he's almost a foot taller than the other point guards, I think it's perfect. I think it's a match made in heaven. And the amount of playmaking he's going to be able to do while he's got an itty-bitty point guard on him, and he's got the LeBron post-up holding the ball up here, trying to figure out the best option, it's not even going to be fair. Like, it's not even going to be fair. I may live to regret this, but I have confidence in Ben Simmons. I think he will, well, I have confidence if he comes back healthy. If he's still hurt, then I'm not going to hold my breath for anything. But assuming that this man is as healthy as he says he is, even though he has told us in the past that he is healthy and everything should be different, the league better watch out. And as someone who has become sort of a cynical Brooklyn Nets fan, I'm very optimistic about this year coming up. Again, at the beginning of this summer, I wasn't really quite sure what the moves were. But the way we're just so defense first with a couple of killers on the side, I'm loving this shit. I'm literally loving this shit, and I can't wait. It is giving, and I made this example a lot on a lot of the teams that I cover, but it's the only thing I can think of. Like, it's giving Derrick Rose Bulls. Like, it's giving Tom Thibodeau, Carlos Boozer, Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah, Kurt Heinrich, Kyle Korver. Like, it's giving D Rose Bulls. And I am so beyond here for it. Now, again, Jacques Vaughn is our coach, so that could definitely get in our way, but I'm expecting positive things. But let me know your thoughts down below. How do you feel about Ben Simmons basically not just putting his hat in the ring, but saying that there are no other hats here? Like, I am Hat Man. He is proclaiming that he is the Brooklyn Nets starting point guard. How do you feel about it? Let me know down below. Again, I hope you are enjoying your summer, and I'll be back soonish, maybe next week, to talk about something else. I'm really tempted to make that Harden versus Williams video, and I think it might be on its way. Assuming no news breaks, next week we'll be having that Darren Williams, James Harden conversation, because I've been waiting. See y'all later.